They don't lower the music. They don't lower their voices. They simply raise their phones. It happens in the bright foyer of Marigold and Ivy, where brass sconces warm the cream walls, and a vase of white lilies perfumes the air. A man in a dark suit, Damien Carr, stitched in silver on his nameplate, blocks Magret Adeyemi at the host stand with the easy confidence of someone used to making people smaller. Welcome, my beautiful family. Before we begin, please subscribe, like this video, and tell me in the comments where you are watching from. Your support will help us bring more wonderful stories. And trust me, you won't want to miss them. Now, let's get into the story. House standards, he says, fingertips slicing the air between them. No athletic caps, no takeout after 2, no accommodations. Behind him, a security officer in a fitted navy takes a practiced position at Magret's shoulder, not touching, close enough to persuade. By the bar, a trio of diners pauses mid-conversation. 2 women tilt their phones, the glossy black eyes of their lenses unblinking. Magret doesn't back up. She crosses her arms, purse strap cutting a clean angle across her chest, cap brim shading her expression. I asked for a chicken salad and the soup of the day, she says. I'm on a schedule. Damien doesn't glance at the register, the clock, or the kitchen door. He glances at her cap, then at the security officer, and lets his voice carry. We have a certain clientele, he says, smiling with his mouth and not his eyes. You understand. The security radio crackles a small burst of static, Kyle printed on his badge, like a swallowed warning. The women with phones lean an inch closer. Somewhere behind the wall, a pan hisses. Somewhere deep in Magret's chest, a very old muscle tenses, remembers, releases. She lets her gaze move past the pointing finger and take the room in. The copperplate day menu, the lilies, fresh water, trimmed stems. They are too large for how many tables are seated. The bartender polishes the same glass twice, not because it's dirty, but because she's out of things to do. Pretty room, leaky operation. Just so we're clear, Magret says, you're refusing service. Correct, Damien answers, pleased to hear his own certainty. Please step aside. The phones edge higher. Kyle shifts closer, a wall that wasn't asked for. Magret turns her wrist, checks the time, and breathes out once through her nose. All right, she says. Give me 20 minutes. Damien's mouth is halfway to a smirk when she's already walking, not fast, not flustered, toward Whitfield's concierge desk. Kyle follows at an official distance, the way a footnote follows a claim. The morning began with the sound of her espresso machine and her mother's voice through a phone speaker. Have you eaten? Yes, Mommy. Don't forget you deserve good things. Magret smiled, turned her laptop toward the light, and read numbers until they sat neatly in her head. Food cost targets, labor bans, wasted prep ratios. The kind of math that could save a dining room if anyone cared to look. She is 34 and allergic to spectacle. Ball caps over blowouts, flats over stilettos. She has resuscitated 4 neighborhood cafes and 1 chain bakery by refusing to confuse exclusive with excellent. Her method is simple. Treat people like they matter and treat money like it can run out. 2 weeks ago, the Whitfield Hotel called about Marigold and Ivy. Beautiful, they'd said, but underperforming. A delicately worded fire sale. In the boardroom that morning, she laid out a plan. Morning pastries and coffee for locals at sensible prices. Lunch paced for the suit crowd without sneer. Evenings with a modest prix fixe and real hospitality. She slid across a purchase agreement with a small, powerful sentence in the middle. Operational control transfers at the moment of signature. The meeting ended early. She had 20 minutes to herself, stomach reminding her she'd only had coffee. She decided to drop into the restaurant anonymously and see what it felt like to be a person here, not a potential owner. The rest unfolded like a script she'd seen too many times. At the concierge desk, Kyle lets the formal posture soften a degree. "Ma'am," he says, voice lower now. "The manager can be strict." Magret answers without heat. "Standards keep places safe. Selective standards break them." Her phone buzzes. Asha Patel, attorney. Docs finalized. Hotel board signed. Ready when you are. Another buzz. Martin from her bank. "Wire landed. Congrats." She types, "Meet me at Whitfield Concierge at 10. Need a witness." The concierge, impeccable bun, calm hands, recognizes Magret from the boardroom and leads her to a writing desk near the windows. Magret lays out papers with the care of a surgeon prepping instruments. Asset purchase, debt cure, transfer of operations, clause tabbed in blue. The white lilies scent from the dining room drifts across the lobby, clean as a new page. Asha arrives with a navy folder and a bright, contained smile. Martin slides in behind, efficient as always. They move quickly, IDs placed, signatures aligned, the concierge's pen poised above the witness line. Asha taps the clause with 2 nails. "Effective, the second your name is down," she murmurs. A small click as the pen meets paper. Another click for the witness. Asha closes the folder like a book that knows its ending. The 3 of them cross the lobby. The bloggers lower their phones enough to whisper, "Is that?" Magret's pulse is steady. Her mouth tastes like a penny. Damien is mid-apology to an older couple, kitchen strain, when he spots her return and preps his ushering hand. "Let's not make this dramatic," he begins. "No plans to," Magret says, placing the folder on the host stand where everyone can see it. "I'm Magret Adeyemi. As of 13 minutes ago, Marigold and Ivy is under my control." Silence doesn't fall so much as sway. Then a soft, disbelieving laugh from somewhere near the bar. The concierge steps into view, formal as a notary. Asha offers her card. Martin hangs back, the way capital often does, present without speaking. Damien's smile rearranges itself twice and lands on defiant. "That's not how this works." "It's exactly how this works," Asha says without raising her volume. "Transfer clause, defaulted operator, hotel consent, today." Magret doesn't look at Damien when she speaks next. She looks at the people whose lives are tied to this room. "Could I have all staff on the floor? Please?" She keeps it gentle. Please, but it travels like a bell. From the kitchen pass, a line cook wipes his hands and steps out, eyes cutting to a photo tucked in his cap brim. 2 kids with gap-toothed seals. The bartender sets the polished glass down like it might shatter. The hostess at the podium, Lila, her name tag says, clutches the edge of a small spiral notebook as if it has a pulse. 2 servers exchange a look that could mean hope or trouble. Kyle adjusts his stance, not between Magret and anyone else now, but a half-step off her shoulder. The bloggers tilt their phones again, not hunting blood this time, maybe history. Damien lifts his chin. "You're making a scene." Magret meets his eyes, unblinking. "No," she says. "I'm making this right." She opens the folder to a page with a header that reads, "Immediate Actions," and slips one finger beneath the paper as if preparing to turn a lever. Let's begin. The folder waits beneath Magret's hand, like a lever. She inhales the lily-sweet air, and the scene dissolves to steam and morning light. The espresso machine thumped twice, hissed, and settled into a low purr. Magret balanced her phone between shoulder and cheek, while she portioned beans. "Have you eaten?" her mother asked. "Excuse me?" Damien snaps. "This is absurd." Magret turns a single page in the folder. The bold header reads, "Immediate actions." Beneath it, the language every HR manager recognizes: termination for cause, transfer of operational control, revocation of access. Her finger rests lightly in the white margin, as if touching the edge of a lever she is about to pull. Magret doesn't raise her voice. She sets it on a steady shelf where everyone can reach it. "Listen," she says, hand resting on the folder. "Luxury without welcome is costume. Exclusivity is not excellence. We will shut down for 48 hours. We'll reopen with a clear menu, a takeout window that works, and a dress code that applies to everyone or to no one. Chosen for purpose, not prejudice." A small current moves through the room, uneasy, electric. The bloggers' phones hold their breath. "New rules," she continues. "Tips will be pooled. Kitchen gets a fair tip out. Training is paid. A grievance channel will be posted in the break room with a private number routed to me and to legal. If you treat guests or co-workers like props for your performance, you cannot work here." She turns a page. The bold type glints. Now, accountability. Damien tries a smirk that never finishes forming. "Finally." "Mr. Carr," Magret says, meeting his eyes, "your employment with Marigold and Ivy is terminated for cause, policy abuse, and reputational risk. Your access ends now." He laughs, but the sound has no place to sit. "You don't have standing to—" Asha doesn't step forward so much as materialize. "Executed transfer. Witnessed. Clause 12, paragraph C." She hands a printout to the concierge, who reads it as if it were a weather report. Martin's phone is already out. His thumb moves. Somewhere in the hotel, an account permission blinks from green to gray. Damien's jaw ticks. This will be wrongful termination. "Cameras are rolling," one of the bloggers says, not unkindly. Magret doesn't look away. "Please collect your personal items from the office. Kyle will escort you." Kyle inclines his head, professional, regretless. Damien holds his ground half a heartbeat too long, then turns on his heel. His shoes sound loud going down the hallway. No one notices until it empties. Magret looks back to the line. "If you have enforced discriminatory service, you are also terminated," she says, the sentence clean as a cut. "If you felt powerless and went along to keep your job, talk to me in the next hour." "I'll listen." A server with a clipped bow tie stiffens, glances at the exit, and follows Damien's trail. Another hesitates, then goes too. 3 others stay, shoulders uncertain but lifted. Magret nods once, not victory, acknowledgement. "Lila," she says. The hostess startles. Her spiral notebook is in both hands, thumb denting the cardboard. "May I see it?" Lila offers it with trembling fingers. Inside, dates and times, names, brief, careful sentences. Guest in cap told to wait, while parties behind seated. Jenna's brunch pitch dismissed. Know your place. A printed email, never sent, to whom it may concern. "Thank you for keeping receipts," Magret says. The words are plain, but they land like rescue. Damien's voice flares from the hallway, rising and fading as if arguing with the furniture. Asha tilts her head toward the concierge. Chain of custody? The concierge nods, produces a small logbook, and together they record the escort, the office collection, the turn-in of keys. Martin hits send on an email titled Access Revoke, immediate to Hotel It. The bloggers angle for a wider shot that fits everybody. The staff, the lilies, the folder that changed the room. Back to work? A server mutters, sour, or back to class? Back to standards, Magret says, still mild. We reopen Thursday. Between now and then, deep clean, menu drill, service training. Everyone shows everyone else dignity. We'll hang the policies where customers can see them too. A voice from the bar. And today? Magret turns toward Jenna. The bartender's eyes are wet but bright. Today, Magret says, you're acting floor lead. Double pay for cleanup. Build a shift list with reasonable breaks. If you want this permanently, you'll have first crack at it. Jenna blinks twice, nods, sets down the glass like it's a baton being handed to her on a track. Lila, Magret adds, I want you as temporary guest experience coordinator. Your job is to collect what goes wrong, quietly, truthfully, until we fix it. That notebook becomes policy. Lila's mouth opens, closes. Yes, she whispers, as if the word might flee if she speaks it too loud. At the pass, the line cook, photo of his kids tucked in his cap, raises a hand. Ma'am, I can make a quick staff meal so no one's working hungry. Thank you, Magret says. You're exactly why this place will work. From the corridor, Damien reappears with a banker's box. He makes a last attempt at staging, pauses, faces the room, addresses no one. This isn't how hospitality is run. Not anymore, Jenna says softly, and it carries. Asha gestures. Kyle takes the box, checks the drawers, and leaves Damien with his phone and whatever pride isn't a company asset. This will go online, he warns, gesturing to the bloggers. Good, Asha replies. Accurate stories protect good staff. He exits into the lobby, swallowed by light. Magret exhales for the first time since she laid the folder down. She doesn't smile. She starts lists. Cleaning crews. Vendor calls. A new menu cadence. The takeout window's location. There, near the side door, with the best street sightline. She writes waste log and knife sharpening and earn trust daily as if they belong on the same checklist, which, for her, they do. Two of the remaining servers inch closer, unsure. We want to stay, one says, voice thin. Then stay, Magret answers, but understand, you're staying for the work, not the costume. They nod, chastened, relieved. Phone lenses lower a few inches. The room's adrenaline recedes. In its wake comes a silence that isn't empty. It's available. Magret closes the folder, not with finality, but with promise, and turns toward the pass. Is the soup still hot? The kitchen goes quiet, a pause that feels like a held breath readying to be released. A metal ladle lifts. Steam ghosts the air. The line, cook tastes, nods once. Tomato bisques ready. Magret's shoulders ease a fraction. 2 to go, she says, and plate a third for staff meal. Bowls slide. Lids click. The room rearranges itself around the most ordinary act it's performed all day. Feeding people. Magret takes one bag, sets the other on the bar. She turns to the two bloggers. Phones still hovering. If you're hungry, she says, eat. If you're posting, please tell it right, Not spectacle, just a fix. They look at each other, lower the lenses, and accept the bowls with a bashful kind of thanks. The older couple from the host stand smiles like a door just opened. Jenna starts calling out side tasks, silverware rolls, front windows, a quick sweep by the entry. Lila pins the day's schedule to a corkboard that hasn't held anything in months. Magret lifts her own lid. The soup smells like basil and clean tomatoes, and the promise of simple things done honestly. She breaks a napkin, tucks half beneath the lid, and hands the second bowl across the pass. "For you," she tells the cook. No one works hungry. 48 hours later, the restaurant looks like itself after confession. The hand-lettered dress code is posted by the door. 3 sentences long and clean as a good bill. Shoes on. Shirts on. Come as you are. Next to it, house standards, the version that matters. Treat everyone with respect. No policy weaponized. Problems? Ask for a manager. A laminated open-door policy hangs in the staff corridor with a private number to Magret and to legal. The takeout window gleams at the side entrance, brass bell polished, a tiny shelf for elbows. At 7:15 a.m., a pair of hospital techs collect coffee and morning scones and laugh like they own the place. In a way, they do now. Prices are rationalized, a salad that isn't punishing, a prefix that isn't smug. In the kitchen, a clipboard waste log gets its first neat tally under yesterday's date. Kyle appears out of uniform at the threshold one afternoon, a ball cap shading his eyes. His little sister, nursing student lanyard swinging, orders a to-go sandwich and waves at Lila, who waves back as if old friends. Kyle doesn't step in. He just watches a minute, a long minute, then smiles and leaves like a man who checked the locks on a house he once guarded. Lila has turned one wall into a suggestion board, sticky notes sprouting like leaves, brunch pancakes with citrus butter, more non-alcoholic cocktails, move the host stand 2 feet so wheelchairs glide by. None of the notes say, "Know your place." Jenna, a pencil behind one ear, builds equitable schedules with actual breaks and a posted rule that says no one closes 5 nights in a row. The line cook tests a weekday special and teaches 2 new hires how to hold a pan without fighting it. The lilies stay. By week's end, the blogger's piece is live. Exclusivity isn't excellence. How Marigold and Ivy turned on a dime. It's not breathless, it's careful. They embed the first clip, the finger, the refusal, and the last clip, Jenna handing them soup while Magret asks for dignity like she's ordering produce. By weight, not by story. Comments bloom. The hotel board sends a 3-line email that manages relief without losing face. Neighbors wander in with curiosity and stay for the chicken salad that now tastes like it was made for people, not for pictures. Between the lunch and evening setup, Magret finds a quiet corner near the window where the light warms the wood to honey. She calls her mother. "You sound tired," her mother says. "Good tired," Magret answers. "We bought a troubled house. I'm moving in." "Then live in it well." "I intend to." She slides her cap into her tote and breathes. The air is lilies and stock and clean coffee. The room, finally, is itself. Evening service begins. Menus lift without the rustle of nerves. Pans hiss at the right moments. No one points fingers. Lila greets a family in t-shirts the same way she greets a couple in suits. Jenna laughs at something a server says, and the sound rides the clink of ice like a melody. Magret takes one last look at the pass. A fresh bowl steams there. A staff meal rung up under a code that simply reads, "House." She tears a napkin in half, tucks a corner under the lid, and murmurs the same quiet invocation she carried in with her on the first day. Let's cook. To our guests and our team, hospitality is a promise. You'll be fed, seen, and safe. Our policies exist to serve that promise, not to police anyone's worth. If you experience otherwise, tell us. We'll fix it. We will make mistakes. We will also make soup. Both will be handled honestly. If someone says, "You can't eat here," it should only mean every chair is taken. And even then, we'll hand you something warm while you wait. Magret Adeyemi, owner, Marigold and Ivy.